Hey everyone, Continuum Ag is really excited to present this keynote from Ray Archuleta, Southeast Iowa during July 2017. Enjoy.
Excellent. We're going to start off this way. I always love starting off this way. Please, Iowa, give me a good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, that makes it worthwhile. That alone I would came for. Thank you very much. I tell you, I'm so excited about this movement that's occurring throughout the country. It's a movement that I think is going to change agriculture and is changing agriculture. Let me tell you a little bit, before I do this and start going, let me get a kind of feeling for the audience and where you're at and how I can tweak my talk, because it's very difficult to, when you have to do a talk, you have people here on this side, beginners, and you have people here that are college graduates of soil health. So it makes it very difficult when you try to teach from the middle. Okay, so I'm going to ask you here, how many of you, first, let's ask, how many are conventional tillage people? Raise your hand. Come on, don't be afraid. I was a conventional tiller too. Okay, how many zero tillers? I mean, zero tillage. When I say tillage, zero tillage, you are a strict no-tiller, that the only thing that soil sees is a no-till drill or a planter. Raise your hand. Okay? How many of you are rotational tillage? You do, maybe you'll till the corn in a little bit and you don't till the beans. Okay, good. Excellent. How many do we have that are organic? Raise your hand. Good. That's organic producers. I want to make sure. Any grazers? People that have grazing animals. Oh, beautiful. Good to see. How many, now I'm going to ask this, how many actually integrate their grazing systems or their cropping systems? Raise your hand. Wow. You are sublime. Excellent. Very good. Okay, now, how many government employees? Raise your hand. They're always exposing us. Extension. Please raise your hand. Any extension? Okay. Any conservation districts employees? Also. Okay, great. Private industry. How many are lost and just came for a sandwich? Okay, we love you too. You're welcome to come and sit. Okay, folks, let's start. Let me start what got me started into this, just very quickly. What got me started in soil health was about 12 years ago. I was a district conservationist in Oregon. I had a small farm in Idaho, and I was realizing that there's a major problem in agriculture, and I could not put my finger on it. I was noticing that my good farmer friend who farmed 600 acres around me of prime Idaho land could not bring his son into the operation. And it really bothered me. I said, now hold on a second. What's going on? We have fantastic water. We have great soils inherently. We got the great climate. In fact, they call that place the Treasure Valley. And his son wanted to come into the operation but could not. There wasn't enough financial ability for the farm to support 2 families. And then the other thing is, before I left, the dad had to go work in town part-time. And it really bothered me. And then the other thing that just kind of irritated me going in, I knew that we were spending millions and millions of dollars to keep the water clean, or keep it clean. Because see, the Snake River flows right between the border of Oregon and Idaho. So I crossed the Snake River every morning. And it just irritated me that that beautiful emerald green river was chocolate at the end of during irrigation season. So that really, really bothered me. And so, to me, the soil health movement started out of this one word that you told me: failure. Failure for myself, failure for many producers, and realizing something was going wrong in agriculture. Why are we keeping these inputs? Why can't we not bring our kids into the center, into the operation? Then it came to my realization, after about 2 to 3 years, maybe even 5 years in soil health, that I was a product of what you call reductionism. Reductionist science. Let me explain real quick what reductionist science is. And I think we all need to understand this because we need to understand we're the product of that. Reductionist science, ladies and gentlemen, is when, and we've learned this from Aristotle and from brilliant people from the past. What it is you take a particular thing you study it down to its individual piece. You go drill down until you get to its tiny piece so you can understand it. The problem with reductionist science is we stay in that reduction, but we forget to back up and understand that everything is connected. Everything is a collective whole. In college, they separated all the departments, do they not? You've got plant pathology, you've got the animal science. That's a great, what you call a perfect example of reductionism. And they put all the departments, even though they have all these departments, but they never speak to each other. When you go to the doctor, you have a liver doctor, you have an intestinal doctor, you have a brain doctor. That is also related by reductionist science. The problem with reductionist science, ladies and gentlemen, it does not work with natural ecosystems and with the human body. What we have to learn is what you call systems thinking and holistic science. We'll talk about that later on. So I'm just telling you, that's what the product I am. I realize we're trying to change that into systems thinking. We're going to talk about that in a little while. Now, this is what we're using to start this journey. I'm going to select 4 of you, and we're going to do this demonstration. I have done this all over the country, from Alaska to Puerto Rico to Hawaii, everywhere. We will not talk cover crops. I will not talk anything livestock management, grazing, until we do these demonstrations. Okay? Now, I asked several of the producers to raise their hand that were conventional. Please raise your hand again, please. Come on, get us up. Come on, conventional producer. Now they don't want to raise their hand. I saw you. But where are they? We're not going until you raise your hand. Come up here. Please, you're going to help me with my demonstration. Organic producers, there's 2 or 3 of you, right? Come on. When you come up, all 3. I need all 4 of you. Come on. You come here. I set you up. We're ready to die. Okay. You guys come over here. We'll do our demonstration. We're missing one. Where's the other one? Sir, what is your name?
Dave.
Dave, are you organic farmer too?
Organic.
Come on. We want you too. We love organic, conventional, we love no-till, we love it all. Come over here for a second. Yeah, that's what we want you here. You're probably going to say, yeah, organic, no-till, it doesn't matter. Because you guys all have something in common. What is it? The soil. Got it all of you. I'll line up right here. Please. Huh? Okay, Doug's going to turn on the camera. Okay, as Doug is doing this. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do this in your operation. I want you to test your soils. This is one indicator of soil health. Now, but before I go do this, I forgot to ask you, how many of you have heard me speak before? Raise your hand. I'm so sorry, but you gotta bear with us, okay? Okay, Henry, you ready? This is our beloved Missouri soil. In fact, Mike, where are you, Mike? Mike, taking the time? I did. Now, Henry's going to give this is a soil that, according to Doug Peterson, is right on the border between Missouri, because Doug lives right on the border between Missouri and Iowa.
Grain soil. It's a grain.
It's a grain, okay? So it's very much, there's a very similar soil in our beloved Iowa. And then Gary, okay, that one is a very heavily tilled soil, okay? So when I say ecologists call it heavy disturbance, lots and lots of tillage. Gary's going to hold a piece of soil that's right next to it, right? That hasn't been disturbed at all. So it's a low disturbance soil. So when you look at Henry dropping that, I want you to look at Henry as a very disturbed, soil. Sorry, Henry. I was a Freudian slip. I don't understand why I do that. And my wife thinks I'm disturbed, very disturbed. Okay, now, Josh, you're going to hold a heavily tilled soil from Louisiana, right? Because I collect soils everywhere I go. And your name is? David? You're going to hold a system also with low disturbance. no tillage disturbance system, okay? Okay? Now, this is how the test works. And it's kind of frustrating. The understated slate test has been known since the 1930s. They have known about aggregate stability since 1938. It was never taught to me in graduate level soils. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. These gentlemen are going to gently drop these clods into the water. Okay? The way you collect these soil samples is you collect it up the top 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. Please do this. You can do this in your garden, or your field, or everywhere. Just grab a chunk, let it air dry at the house, and that's what you do, and then you get ready to do the test. Now, I'm going to give you a warning about this test right off the top of the bat. This test works on 98% of the soils. Not all soils will fall apart or slake under when you put them in water. Okay? The reason? Mineralogy. The mineralogy is different. Okay? But it works on all. I've done this in Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska. I've done it all over. The same thing occurs. Okay? Now, here's what we're going to find out. What we're going to do. If your soil is healthy, we're going to drop it in there. It should not fall apart. It should hold its integrity. It should hold the structure as the water is rushing in to fill the pore space. Inside of each of those clouds, there's millions and millions of pore spaces. We don't want the pores to collapse. If the soil is breaking apart, the pores come collapsing, no porosity, no infiltration, and the water runs off. Okay, now please understand, it is only one indicator of health. Just like the doctor. It does your blood sample, urine, fecal. You are complex. There are many indicators of health. This is one, but it's the most visual and powerful. Are you ready, gentlemen? Drop them in there. Good? And we did this yesterday with some other Iowa soil, and guess what? Notice what's happening with the conventional tillage soils. Ladies and gentlemen, those soils are heavily tilled soils. The most destructive thing we do in modern agriculture is till. It is an intrusive tool. I did not know this, that tillage was that destructive. Fungicides are also intrusive. Too much fungicides hurt the biology that creates the biotic blooms. Look at those soils falling apart in that water. These are both no-till soils. This thing, we did this in Hawaii, the same thing occurred. The only difference in the Hawaiian soils is the microbes speak Hawaiian over there. but they do the same thing. Here's what happens with tillage. The moment you till the soil, you infuse oxygen and you wake up the soil bacteria called R. strategists. R. strategists. Or in different ways, opportunists. I also call them the teenagers. Have you ever seen the teenager when they're in a dead sleep and you say the word pizza? The moment you infuse oxygen, you wake up this bacteria and they start consuming the glues. They consume the organic matter. Why do they do that? It is a healing mechanism. What happens is when you steal and you stimulate the soil, you wake up this bacteria, they start eating the glues, the organic matter, they die, they release nitrate to feed weeds. You stimulated secondary succession. They're trying to heal the soil because the soil does not want to be inverted. Nature does not, it's not a nudist. It will cover itself with weeds automatically. So when you run that tillage instrument, and when you run that vertical till, you wake up those organisms, they eat the house, you stimulate weeds, and you created that with your tillage unit. And here's what else you did. You see these soils? These soils no longer have the structure. If you walk up in the field with these soils, I am 5'10". By the time you walk to the edge of that field, I am 7'10". It will stick to the bottom of your feet. A good, healthy no-till will not stick to your shoes. The pivot no longer can the structure pivots under a no-till cover crop system do not sink. Farmers can get into the field 2 weeks sooner in a healthy no-till cover. Why? It has the biotic glues. It has the cementing agents created by fungus, bacteria, and living biology. They create the glues. They create the organic matter. They do it, ladies and gentlemen. I did not know that. So here's the problem also. These soils are leaky. These soils, you'll always have to be putting lime on them. They leak nitrogen. They're bacteria dominant. These soils will make us go broke. They will be more weedy. They're more anaerobic. They have less trace minerals in them. This one are more balanced. This one's had more fungus. You will have more trace minerals because they have more biotic glues nor cementing agents. It's the glue makers. So the moment you run that tillage tool that you just bought, please understand what you're doing to that soil ecosystem. So, they're leakier. These are leaky systems. This is why we're having a lot of our water quality issues. This is why the soil, why we have massive wind erosion. The biotic glues are no longer intact. Now let's take it to further. Let's do this demonstration. I'm doing something very different, which I rarely ever do different, but I think we need to. Josh and David, okay? Now I want, for this moment, I want you to, Josh is going to have the heavily disturbed soil, and you're going to have, David, the no-till soil. I want you to pour those two soils in this container. Now notice, there's going to be holes. Mike, can you see the holes? The two mics? Okay, see the holes. Okay, now I want you to pour those two soils in. Go ahead and pour them in. No-till, David's less disturbed. He's very disturbed. Would you look at that? Okay, Josh, you ready for that? Okay, now what I want you to do, here's what I want you to do, because I want you to do it. I want you to get this spoon, and I want you to tap it really hard on the edges. You first, David. Don't be shy. Don't touch the middle. Just touch it. Yeah, good. I don't want to have any provincial flow. I want them to do it in front of every one of you. That's good. That's good enough. Now, Josh, your turn. We're creating a miniature water cycle. We're going to pour water on top of those two profiles. We're creating our own soil profile. Go ahead and put a little more tap there, Josh. I don't want any leaking. Just don't touch the center. Good? You're done good. Now, let's go right here. Now, you guys are going to pour. Ooh, we've got to put butter in here. There. I got it right here. We'll use this. Okay. Now, you're going to pour it together at the same time. Hold on a second. Now, before we start, I want you to notice all the clays and the silts in the water column suspended. Okay? It's very key. Now, keep in mind, this is only 8 inches. I want you to think in your mind what happens when it rains 10 or 15 miles an hour, and if this occurs with 8 inches, what do you think happens when rain is coming from thousands of feet? Ready, pour. Let's see which one infiltrates quicker than the other. What's happening? The no-till. Look at the no-till soil. How many thought that when you stir up the soil, you allow more pores and you get more infiltration? Raise your hand. Every one of you should raise your hand. We were all taught that. If I dish that soil, I'm going to make it fluffy, we'll let the water in. It is the complete opposite. What we do with tillage, ladies and gentlemen, we destroy the glues. The glues no longer hold the clays in place and the sands, and the pores collapse. Look at here.
He's got a dry spot.
Yeah, look at that. Look at this one. Look how this one's going to filtrate. This is costing us billions. Look how brave I am. That's how confident I am about But Chris didn't like that for a second. I don't understand.
No, this one I didn't like.
So that one,
No problem.
Yeah, not that one. He knew. But see, ladies and gentlemen, this is costing us billions of dollars. Why our lakes and rivers are dirty, and we're losing nutrients. What happens to this water when it rains?
It runs off.
It runs off. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have a runoff problem in this country and the world. We have an infiltration problem. We have a soil function problem. Because it is occurring, and we don't have the glues, and we're not taking care of the biology, we are sickly, we have more cancer, we're more obese, because we don't have the nutrient density. If the soil's not healthy, the plant's not healthy, the human's not healthy, the climate's not healthy, the water's not healthy. It is all connected. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. If you don't believe it, fine. Continue to go where you go. But this is the truth of where we're at, and it's happening on billions of acres. And it's not just happening in the United States, it's happening all over the world. Please remember that tillage and overgrazing was caused major desertification in Saudi Arabia and Northern Africa. There was no chemicals yet. Now let's go to the next demonstration. Gentlemen, you line up here. Well, no, stay right there. Just pretend you guys have a mug shot here. Gary? Now, Henry, you're gonna be my cloud. Okay, now you guys get close together. David? Raise it up higher. Now, Chris? Ready? Now I want you guys to rain on this cloud. Okay? You can fly forward just a little bit. You're taller than I am, I guess. Okay, now, these guys are the conventional. That's a clod from a conventional field. That is a clod from a no-till field. Now, I've had a lot of producers say, but Ray, I've seen my no-till neighbor erode. How many have actually seen no-till fields erode? I have too. See, no-till is not the answer. It never was the answer. No-till that covers is the answer. Systems. It was never about no-till. Beautiful. Watch this. Okay, you can stop now with that cloud. Now, a lot of people don't realize no-till is very soft. You've got those biotic glues. Now look at this right here. Look at that. Look at the difference. Now, guys, you have to drink out of the one you got selected. But this one just has a little bit of Roundup. Does that bother you? What's wrong? It just got a little bit of Roundup. Look at the difference, ladies and gentlemen. What is happening here is that the biotic glues are not present. Those glues only last 27 days. 27 days. So that means we have to continually feed the glue makers. These are always being fed on by other microorganisms. So we have to feed it all the time. So how do we continually build glue? Okay, here's what I'm going to show you. So remember, this is why our lakes and rivers look, according to EPA, guess what's still the #1 water quality issue in the country? Sediment. It's still sediment, ladies and gentlemen. And it's everything it carries. The biotic glues are not attacked. And until we gotta have glue makers, and we gotta feed the glue makers every square foot of our farm. Alright? Now we got a couple more demonstrations. Doug, we're still waiting for that, Doug.
Yeah, wait till you get done talking.
Okay, good. That may be forever, hold on. Okay, now one more demo. Let's do this one. Henry, you're gonna do this one for me. Okay, so now, go ahead, get on this side. Now, how are we going to fix it? How do we increase the glue makers? It's called the liquid carbon pathway. We help the glue makers by feeding them liquid sun. The more we put plants on the soil, The more you feed the microorganism, the enhanced nutrient cycling, feed and help the glue makers. They do it. It's plants and the microbes do it together. Okay? Now what I want you to do is, Henry, I want you to go like this. I want you to get that soil and get all of the dirt out of it. Okay? Go ahead. Plants will leak 30 to 70% of all their photosynthetic material. They capture the sun. You can't? Well, you can do it. I want you to address it. Okay. Now, 30 to 70%, they capture that energy, and they leak 30 to 70%. Now, Jeff, let me ask you, if I tell you to work for me for a whole day, but I take 70% of that check, well, you wouldn't be very happy, would you? No, somebody in the audience would say, yeah, but that government's doing that already anyway. Yeah. There's always somebody telling me that in the audience, so I'm not going to beat the punchline here. Okay, now you can stop. Now, these roots, they leak huge amounts of copious molecules. Nucleotides, sugars, carbohydrates, proteins, all these cool things leak into the soil. Now show them that fluffy material on the bottom. Look at that material. Can everybody see that white scum? When a producer tells me, see, corn does that, soybean does that. Why do plants do that? The plant says, look, if I give you all those sugars, I will bring zinc to you, phosphorus, nitrogen, all the minerals. I will bring it out of the rock. I will do that. That means plants are microbial obligates. They are obligated and they have an association. So here's the real simple thing, ladies and gentlemen. The more you put covers, the more you put plants in the soil, the more you feed the glue makers, the less nitrogen you have to buy, the better your structure gets, the more you hold your limes, the more you hold your phosphorus. It is that simple. The worst thing a producer can do to his farm is to leave it bare. Especially after a soybean crop. Because you just leak a lot of nitrogen, you create it because legumes produce nitrogen. The best way to stop that and plug up that leak, put up cover crop. And then the cover crop will grow, will die next year, and release it to your following corn crop. Stop the leaks. That's how we build the glue makers. Now, are we done here? I think so. Let's see if we got this one to work, Doug.
Wait till you're done.
Okay, wait until I'm done? Huh? Okay. Would you guys give these guys a hand, please? And here's another thing I usually do, but it still hasn't leaked. Where's one of our conventional producers that was up here? Would you come up here, please, sir? One more demonstration. I always try to do this. Still a little leaky, but it's okay. I got a little thing to wash your hand. Come across the other side. Let's pretend that you are a giant herbivore. Right here, over here. You're going to get your two fingers, and you're going to get those two fingers, and I want you to touch the bottom of the plastic. And Josh, I want you to tell me which one gives you more resistance. Okay? To get to the bottom. Can't tell? Do it again. Okay, back to us. Let me push it.
The no-till.
The no-till has more structure. I never tell people to graze animals in a conventional field. They will destroy it. It does not have the structure. It's not ready for grazing. It does not have the structure that it needs. That's why it's very important to understand your ecological context. Okay. Now we're going to start. Where's our little pointer clicker? Find it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now let's get down the journey. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Brown, Dr. Alan Williams, David Brandt, and we started a new consulting company called Soil Health Consulting and Soil Health Academy. The reason is because we no longer wanted to be censored by anybody and start a school that will change the world. It's already started. And we think the only way we're going to fix these issues is one heart, one mind at a time. This is what's happened in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Texas. This was taken in 2016. 2016. Can you see all the college degrees flowing there? Can you see all the rich data that we have ascertained last year? Can you see all the conservation and nutrient management plans there? Why is it we have the most brilliant universities and we're still having this? This is Texas. How about Iowa? That's Iowa. Where was it? Illinois, Doug, where people got killed? We have spent billions of dollars. We have started an agency in 1935 to prevent that. And we're still here. Why is it? This gets people really pissed off, depending where I go. I say our lakes and rivers are filled with conservation and nutrient management plans. But not crystal clear with understanding. It is not the plans that will ever fix it. I wrote conservation plans. I wrote nutrient management plans. They solved nothing. Because our people didn't have the understanding like I did. We need to teach.
To fully appreciate
this. Here is Dr. Nicholas Talib saying, the more data we have, the more likely we are to drown on it. He is a brilliant statistician. His books are on the New York Times. I recommend any of his books. Brilliant man. Here's another reason we're having issues, why we haven't fixed it. And please understand this. When you're into cover crops and no-till, you've got to embrace this and understand. Another thing is the biggest problem for the success and failure of any system is you. Your understanding. Do you really understand the system and why you're doing what you do? Are you doing it because you saw it in a no-till magazine? Or is it because you really understand the system? Okay? Here's another reason why we have so much struggle, and it's everywhere. Why some have tried to squelch the soil health movement. It is incredibly difficult to educate a man when his check depends upon it. I will tell you about a rancher that was so stressed, and he was right on the financial fringe. He was right on the edge. He said, Ray, I believe this, but I'm afraid. He was afraid. Fear, the pressures, the financial pressures. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys have known this, but just recently in 2006, the Center of Disease says the highest suicide rate is farmers and ranchers in the top 30 careers in this country. The stress they have to deal with to be able to hold on to their farm. We understand the pressures. Now, here's another reason, and I think this is very important if you're going to be able to grasp what you're going to learn today. It's called systems thinking. Remember I started you off with reductionist science. For some of you who are going to be students, I want you to write this down. Dr. Russell Akoff, there's an hour and 30-minute talk on systems thinking. Please watch that. Some of you are not going to, that's fine. But some of you that want to understand, to start to think in systems, our college did not teach us how to think in systems. Okay? Let me give you an example. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask Sean, can you please tell me, what is that a picture of?
About 1,000 parts of the car.
Beautiful. Some people say it's a car. It's not. It is parts of a car. Now, if I jump on top of that car, will it get me to Walmart? No, it would not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we do agriculture and conservation, in pieces. See, ladies and gentlemen, it's the pieces working together as a collective make the car. Let me continue down the journey. We now are doing systems thinking. You know what that science is called? Ecology. The study of the house. The connectedness of it. Here's the thing you need to learn today. If you do not learn, please understand everything is connected on your farm. You are connected. When you go to a doctor, why do they take us to a specialist? Why do I go to a liver doctor? Does he not know that I'm connected to my foot connected? Everything's connected. Why is he looking at me, diagnosing me as in pieces? That's what's occurring. Let me tell you some more. Let me give you an example. I used to teach conservation planning to all our all our employees. And I would say to my employees, what is the resource problem when you walk onto that farm? Do you know what 98% of our employees said? The street bank is small and we got not enough big diaper buffer. I said, really? And I'm not being mocking because I would have done the same thing. I'm saying, no. The problem is the moment that raindrop lands, our job is to capture sun in every square inch of that farm, and we capture the problem when the raindrop lands. Because what happens is, we did tillage up here. This is electron microscope. Look at the tillage here. All mold-bearing little pores. Look at the pores in the no-till field. Do you think that the diaper is going to hold 99% of the water running off? No. Now, look, we have to go all the way down to the aggregate. If we want to see the problem, we have to go drill deeply into the soil and notice what's occurring. Look at this no-till field. Look at the till field here. What's happened is the blues, the structures, are destroyed in this field, cannot hold the nutrients well. Sometimes we cannot see it with our eye. Here's how we're doing conservation, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to be aware. And then we're going to move on to this journey here. Notice this picture. The grass waterways, the filter strips, the wetland, the riparian windbreaks. Very nice diapers. I like them. Please don't misunderstand. They serve purpose. But I will tell you, if I did a soil health assessment, the only soil that would be healthy would be in the waterways and the buffers. Because if I would run them here, the till fields would all collapse, and the buffer and the diapers would hold together. You see what we're talking about? That's why we do cover crops. The whole field has to be a buffer. Okay? Now, here's what I want us to walk away with. Because the reason I'm sharing this with you is because if you do not solidify your mind in these principles, and if you have a bad accident with your cover crops, you're going to quickly give up. Please understand, it's not about data. I want you to understand about principles. Principles of soil health. What does anybody know the principles of soil health and why you're doing coverage? Anybody in here? Please name one. Keep the soil covered all the time. Reduce disturbance. Live in room 24/7. Incorporate animals into the system. Diversity, diversity, diversity. Those are the principles I want you to remember. If you remember those principles, I can send you to any part of the world and you can get the soil healthy. It's that quick. Now, here's another thing I want you to remember. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This year we had failures with cover crops. And people wanted to give up very quickly. We had armyworm, we had sludge, we had all those issues that we're going to talk about later tonight in the language panel. So please, if you're not willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn, don't do cover crops. I'd rather you not do cover crops. Because then you will go to the coffee shop and blast it. Please don't do that. It's the only single practice I know in our country that will get us to a place of regeneration, that we can be healing the land, eating more than no-till. So please, if you're not willing to do that, Now, here's the thing. The reason I'm going through over this, because a lot of you have not heard it before. Why are you doing cover crop? There are 4 reasons I want you to internalize. When I walk on your farm, these are the 4 things I look right away. Because I put principles in my mind, these 4 things must be occurring on your farm. 1, are you capturing solar energy on every square inch of your ground? 24/7, as much as possible. Please understand that corn and soybean is an inadequate crop rotation. It will not be sustainable. Now, if you put corn, multi-species cover crops, and then go to soybean, multi-species cover crops, now you're talking. You are capturing solar energy and leaking it and feeding microbes. The next one, and unless you capture enough energy, you cannot feed the glue makers, build aggregate stability for the water cycle not to work on your farm. Notice, all those are connected. The more water I get into the soil, the more nutrient cycling I will get. Then the last one, diversity. See, diversity is very powerful. Diversity moves the nutrients in the mass of material and minerals from one organism to another organism. Nature uses diversity. The most powerful thing you can inculcate in your farm is diversity. Not every plant catches energy the same. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand all these ecosystem processes occur right on the soil surface. Unless you have living roots, you cannot get all those ecosystem processes to work well. So the job is very simple. Cover it. Okay? Now, how many of you went to college for soils? Raise your hand. Okay? You went to school for soils? Good for you. Do you agree with that chart right there? How many of you agree with that chart? Please raise your hand. That biology and physical and chemicals are all equal value. Organic matter is the mother lode and the most important thing on the planet. Raise your hand. Well, raise your hand. Have confidence or you're not confident. I set you up. I will agree with that. Why? Let me show you. Mars. Chemical physical. Earth. Chemical physical. What's the difference between those 2 planets? Life. They are not equal value. The biology builds the structure and the glues, and they also help regulate the chemistry. They are not equal value. They will never be equal value. Let me show you an example. Let me show you what I learned from this book. The greatest geological force on the planet is life itself, ladies and gentlemen. Life itself. Now look at that. How many of you have actually seen a tree growing into a rock? Okay, raise your hand. I'm a Westerner. I see that a lot. You've seen it, right? That is a compaction issue. Partners. So what do you do for compaction? How about spit it out? You bring out the big John Deere and you go, baby, diesel, let's burn it, let's break it up. Right? So let me ask you, how is that plant able to survive that compaction issue? Whoa! Fungus. That plant is very arbuscular mycorrhizal fungus. 80% of our plants thrive with that fungus. They excrete powerful enzymes, break rock down. Bacteria can break rock down. Whoa! So the most powerful thing you can do on your soil is what? Put a living plant. And you don't have to put diesel in it. You think you have it rough? That's a picture of Australia. Australia. Do you think life sucks in some parts here? Look at that. Roger, how would you like to farm that calcium seabed? Now I have a question for you, Ron. Why is it dark up here? Life. Look how powerful it is. If you inculcate in your soil life, a rancher, my favorite around and looked around. He said, I used to get up every morning to see what I had to kill. He gets up every morning and says, what do I bring to life? So I transform my farming management. 90% of nutrient cycling is biological. So the more you breed covers, the more you extract the microbe, the more you feed, the less you have to go to the co-op. The less you have to buy fertilizer. The less you have to use fungicides and insecticides. Because the system is designed to be self-healing, self-regulating. Let me show you. This is a young gentleman who put a scanner and he wants to show how decomposition happens on your farm. On all soils, this occurs. Look at that leaf in 12 or 13 days. Look what is occurring. Look at the elegance. When they die, they live, they do these secretions. Those secretions is what embeds and holds our particles together. It creates nutrient cycling. Now, if we run a disc on that elegance, what does it do to it? It screws it up. How about these worms? Love to watch these earthworms. Look what they do. Earthworms, this is a chip compost pile. Look what they do in a short time. If I have one shovelful, if I have 4 earthworms per shovelful, every time I get a shovel, it's equivalent to 1.5 million earthworms to 2 million in an acre. If I get them, and what I love about them, they can completely turn your soil for you, aerated, and what I love about it, they show up to work on time, they don't complain, and they don't need diesel. You don't need anything else. Feed them with roots. That's called bioobservation. Let them do it. Look what you're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. That is a water bear. Something that lives in our subaquatic ecosystems. That's what you run every day with a tractor. And don't realize that these incredible being creatures are part of it. The biggest thing you can do for you to be successful in cover crops is change your mind on how you look at your soil. Once you realize it's alive, and if it hurts you to do a tillage, then I know you understand. If it hurts you to spray, I know you understand. That's what I want you guys to see. Now, when you do too much, apply too much chemical fertilizer, especially phosphorus. If you overapply more than 200 pounds of phosphorus, you can shut down the mycorrhizae or too much fungicide. Too much tillage hurts those mycorrhizae. Then it affects them, then it affects them, then it affects them, and the whole system collapses. And then you go to the co-op and write a check. The more you understand the biology, the more you start writing the back of the check. I will show you in my PowerPoint how people have reduced their fertility by 85%. Hold on. Okay, if I use the word for one word for soil health, it is this, ladies and gentlemen. Ready? Biomimicry. Mimic life. If somebody sees you, they say, instead of saying you're a farmer, what do you do for a living? I mimic life. That's what you really do. That's what we're supposed to do. Please write this down. There's a lady named Janine Banez. Watch her on TikTok. They have an institution now called the Institution of Biomimicry. Why is it so important? Some of the most incredible inventions have been mimicking nature. The whole premise is it's an innovation that seeks sustainable solutions to human challenges by emulating nature. This is where we're headed. This is where agriculture is headed. Let me give you an example of biomimicry. Velcro was designed by an engineer, and he found a cocklebear on his little dog. He goes, whoa, maybe I'll make a tape and I'll call it Velcro. You know what his name is? Millionaire. We now are mimicking termite mounds. The air conditioning system is so efficient now we're putting in our buildings. We're saving 90% energy. We're doing robotics by mimicking elephants. Ladies and gentlemen, biomimicry has been around for a huge amount of time. In the book of Job, ask the beast and they will teach you. Do you know why I missed it? 8 years of university study. And I'm serious. I missed learning how to be an observer. How many of you, honestly, go out and enjoy the process, go to your wooded areas, go dig in your soils on a regular basis? Raise your hand. I didn't know how to do that. Now, everybody like Chris and all of us do that all the time, do we, Mike? This is what we're mimicking, guys. The prairie and the forest. We want to mimic that architecture. I don't need prairie, I don't need forest. What we're teaching you is we got to emulate that system, the architecture of it. Diversity, covered 24/7, living roots. And both systems have cows. I don't know why we separated the cattle from the cropland. It was the biggest ecological disaster we've ever done for our farms. The ones that are not doing it are making huge amounts of money. There is money in agriculture. And I'm not saying not to do that. Please don't misunderstand me. Now we're going to do this. This is the thing that we're emulating also. We are mimicking that canopy of leaves. How many have actually walked in the forest and seen the leaves, right? You know what we're doing with the cover crop? We're mimicking that. We are rolling our covers, create our armor, and we have green coming out of the ground. The forest, green growing out of brown. The prairie, if you pull the prairie grass aside, what do you see in the bottom? Armor. Green growing out of brown. When you go to the lawn, once you go to your lawn, ladies, I know you'll do this, pull your lawn and you go, whoa, Ray saying he's right. Look at the detritus spear armor. Why is there armor there? Look at the pattern of how farmers are accomplishing this. But before I do that, I want to share something with you because there has been a lot of people saying, well, Ray, where's your science? We're convinced you smoke way too much cover crops. Where's your science? Oh, yeah. I said, really? What did it say, Dr. Odom, the father of ecology? Although applications and principles and patterns of our nature are everywhere, but they are rarely applied in agriculture. We have known for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know third world countries have been doing cover crops for years? You know why? They can't afford tractors. They can't afford chemistry. They've been using that for a long time. Something I want you to walk away with today, for some of you newbies, this has to be internalized to you. The plant and soil are one. They are not separate units. If I take the plant out, if I take the biology out, what do we have? Geology. The ancients used to call the plant the mouth of the soil. So the next time you hay and you remove all the plants, what you've technically done is you actually rip the mouth out. And it responds violently to a point that the water starts to run off on hayfields continuously. Aggregate stability on hayfields are one of the worst. The most water runoff we have is in hayfield. Why? Come on. You take all the carbon, you take everything. How do you fix it? Cover crops. Integrate, drill into them. Don't take the last cutting, graze them, put manure on them. We want this living roots. This is what we want, ladies and gentlemen. These are the mixes that we're trying to do. We're doing these mixes for a reason. Notice how it looks like a prairie. Notice, it is planned that way. Look at the architecture of it. We're trying to mimic that architecture of it. Why? We want more beneficials. The more beneficials we bring, there are 1,700 beneficials for every one pest. The more that more of our neighbors do this, the more we can suppress our pest populations. Nature is self-healing, self-regulating. Now I'm going to ask you, bacteria replicates every 20 minutes. We can fill the planet with bacteria very quickly. So why are we overrun with bacteria? How about insects? They replicate every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. Why are we not overrun with insects? The reason I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, many researchers will tell you we have green bridging, we have disease, we have pests. Well, if that's the case, how are we able to grow any crops? Nature's self-healing, self-regulating. Why aren't you, every one of you dying of cancer? Your cells are breaking down all the time. Why is that healing process occurring? We have to start asking those critical questions, and I point you back to nature. It's self-healing. So how are farmers doing it? This is how they're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. They are investing. They did not get cost share programs for this. They did it because they understand. Look what they're building so they can interseed into standing corn. Look at this one. Farmers are doing this. Look at this. Why are they doing it? For this very reason. So when they get their corn off, they feed that fantastic soil and say, thank you very much. They hold the nutrients, they stop the leaks, they capture sun. They feed microbes because they understand. Look at this one. This is Ray McCormick. He went to North Dakota with me. He used to be the head of the conservation district, president. He built that once he came back from North Dakota. He goes, biodiversity is all about diversity. He put again seed box, his tubes, and he puts cover crop seed as he's harvesting. Because what's the biggest argument about cereal producers? I don't have time. This is Manchester, Tennessee, one of our best DCs. He has 40% of his county covered in cover crops in less than 3 years. Very committed young man. They are planting corn and soybean into standing 5 to 10 weight mixes with 15 to 20,000 pounds of violence. That is awesome. Their soil respiration went from when they started, isn't that cool? This is going to go all over the country. And you know what I love about this? We have been able to suppress pigweed. We were losing the battle in the South with pigweed. We no longer had chemistry to control it. Those heavy armors, predominantly cereal, which idiopathic pigweed hates. Pigweed hates cereal. Suppressing it, we're building. And guess what I love about this picture? It gives me goosebumps. All 4 ecosystem processes are happening to the last minute. He's capturing some. The water cycle is working. The nutrient cycling is working. Diversity is working to the last minute. He has 40% of his landowners covered in that county. It blew my mind. I actually got the pickup, the government pickup, we're driving. This is my field, this is my field, this is my farmer, this is my farmer. Cover, 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 cover. It was mind-boggling. Less than 3 years. What made that district conservationist so special? This is his front yard. He's so committed, he put a cover crop mix right in his lawn. Front lawn. That is a roller planting soybean right into it. Creating that beautiful arbor, that blanket, mimicking the forest, the prairie. Holding the moisture in, helping us get to the dry times. 2 years ago, they only got 11 inches of rain the whole season. No, sorry, 6 inches of rain. Their worst yield was 160 with 6 inches of rain. It was the armor that saved them. It was the diversity that saved them. We are also doing this with moving our cows. We are using biomimicry. We're mimicking the buffalo with our cattle. We are grouping them tight. Why? Because we want every square foot with urine manure to prime our microbes. There were a reason why they were grouped together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are two same soils. Can you believe those are the same soils? If you took a whole spectrum of the United States, some of us are here to the left, and some of us going to no-till covers and multi-species grazing are getting closer to looking at our forest soils. Those soils were feet apart from each other. This was continual monoculture corn and soybean. Please understand, under these soils, this is a bacteria-dominant soil. The species of nitrogen that's predominant in these soils is nitrate. When you have too much nitrate in the soil system, you make it more susceptible to disease, pathogens. But the moment you start shifting to more cover crops, your system becomes more fungal. The less tillage you do, now you have access to other pools of organic nitrogen. It's called dissolved organic nitrogen. We now have a tool to measure that. Now, this is important. Why? I want you to understand that. I'll write this down for some of you to go buy this book. I know some of you will not read it, but I will tell you anyway. There's a book I want you to get. It's called, help me here, Doug, what's it called? Teeming with Nutrients. No, Teeming with Microbes. That's your first book. Please buy the book. It's really thin. It's not that thick. But it's worth getting that book. Why do I want you to get that book? Because it is powerful. There's one called Teeming with Nutrients, Teeming with Fungus, and Teeming with Microbes. This is where I learned this very important with also Dr. Meninga. Folks, if we would die and everybody turned into, in Iowa would turn into zombies, what would happen to Iowa? What would it go back to? Come on, Iowa. Prairie or forest, correct? Mostly prairie, depending where you're at. Please, you need to understand, most farms are here, and the weeds. Look at the fungus. Very little, lots of bacteria. Look at here. As we go more to no-till, you start going in this realm. You get more fungus, less bacteria. We want to go this direction. But we do not want to get too fungal because corn loves nitrogen. So we want our soils to cycle. Please understand, if you understand this concept, you can use this as a very powerful tool. Let me give you an example. If you have a pasture that's being encroached with shrubs and woodies, what would some of you do to get rid of the shrubs and the woodies? Audience, in the back there, what would you do? Come on. Come on, be honest. What would you do? What would you do? I always like to have a smarty. What would people do? Most of them. They would run a bush hog, they would run a shredder, they would do something, or they would do something different. The answer is you run the cows and the sheep tightly. And you want the manure and urine because it primes the soil and shifts it back this way to more bacteria for a period of time. You need to understand why you're doing the tool. Now, do you know it doesn't take, if you're no-till and you've got a lot of fungus, it doesn't take too much tillaginess to push it back this direction. There's a constructive way of moving the soil biology this way or this way, but there's also a destructive way to move the biology. I'm teaching you how to use your tools. That's why I'm asking you to get the book. Also, need to understand, if you know where you're at in this system, you know the predominant nutrient that's in the system. The reason we have a hard time cleaning our water is because we're predominantly a bacteria-driven system, always stealing, leaking nitrate all the time. Now, Dr. David Johnson, I went to school at New Mexico State, didn't mean anything, but I sure wish he was my professor. He has a wonderful talk in, what's the game, Doug? I always mess it up. Quivir Coalition. Go on to Quivir Coalition and listen to his 1 hour talk. It will blow you away. This is why I'm going to share this with you. He did some research in greenhouse. He found out that in early plant stage, when plants are this big, at the early stage of health, what was the most critical thing he found out? He found out it was not nitrogen that was important in the early stages of plant growth. Look at the R squared. Anytime a scientist comes out and puts R squared, that means is there a relationship? When somebody brings that out, it needs to be 0.67 or 0.8. The more there is higher, the higher there's a relationship. There's causal relationship. He found out it was not nitrogen that made early importance for plant growth. Look at the R squared. Look at the phosphorus. It had nothing to do with health of the plant in the early stages. Look at potassium. Look at organic matter. None of those made a difference in early plant stage. You know what made a difference? Fungus to bacterial ratios. Look at the more fungus in the soil, look at the healthier the plant. Why, ladies and gentlemen? See, what do you think's going on?
Mimicking nature.
Mimicking nature, and guess what else? See, remember I tell you plants are microbial obligates? Their job is to build association with the workers down there so they can have access to the nitrogen, to the phosphorus, to the potassium, to the organic matter. It is that critical. So if you spray and till your soils and you don't have fungus, what do you think is going to happen with early stages of plant growth and disease? And then we're planting corn as early as we can, and even microbial activity is not that high. Sometimes if people had an option, they'd probably be planting corn in January. See, when you plant that corn too early, you make it susceptible to disease and pathogens. You are stressing it. It is a warm season grass. This is why it's important to have the soil biology on your side. Now, here's the thing that's caused our problems. We all have been taught in school what you call the inorganic-based soluble state model. We were taught in college if you put water in there, you put fertilizer, it comes in contact with the soil solution, and all these nutrients and calcium and ions flow. Called diffusion mass flow. That can happen, but that's not the real model. Because we follow that model, we are losing 40 to 60% of our land, and our soils are bare and fallow. This is the model that we should be following, called ecologically based model. For you who want to read and learn more about ecological nutrient cycling, please type Dr. Drinkwater from Cornell. Read her research paper. She is awesome. Dr. Drinkwater, Cornell, Google search. Okay? Now, I already did that. We're going to skip here. How much time do I got? Am I doing okay in time? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have this is what some of our soil health specialists and our grazing specialists did. Is they took some columns and some of the profiles of our soils. I want you to look at the dark humid colors. Look at the colors here, the heavy diffuse grays. But look at it when you rotate. Look how dark it gets. Why should we care about the colors, the humid materials, the biological blues? This is why. The darker the soil, the more carbon we pump in, that changes the infiltration rates. 5 inches versus half an inch. It really matters how you move the cows. Same thing for rotational grazing. Look at hayland. Rangeland is 27 inches per minute, per hour. Look at here, the hayland. 0.59 inches on hayland. This is what I'm telling you about taking too much carbon from the system. Look at rotational grazing. Look at continuous. Look at cropland. Same soil types. It matters how you manage the soil, ladies and gentlemen. We can measure these molecules now. We can measure between this soil and this one. We have the ability. I'm going to talk about that quite quickly. Look at the infiltration rates between that soil and that one. This one is moving the animals like buffalo. Adaptive grazing, sometimes you do rotational, sometimes you move them like buffalo, but you don't have to do them all the time. This one is you just let the cows do whatever they want. This is 2 fields in South Carolina. Look at the difference between those 2 fields. This is a strip till Operation, no covers. This is no-till covers. Look at the dark, humid colors. Okay? Here, look at the colors of these soils. This is no-till, high diversity, cover crops, livestock. Look at the colors. This is in North Dakota. No-till, no cover, no livestock. Low diversity. See the difference? Now, how can we measure this? This is a soil test that I have been promoting. I got to meet Mr. Rick Haney, and it is with the USDA ARS lab. It is a very controversial soil test. How many of you have heard of the Rick Haney test? Please raise your hand. Okay. Some of you have heard mixed things, but I'm here today to clarify things. Okay. Dr. Rick Haney discovered this, and he's been building on brilliant lines for many years. Let me explain. A lot of frustration, a lot of people going out there are confusing a regular soil test with a Haney test. Please do not compare a regular university or a lab test with a Haney test. It is apples and oranges. They are totally different soil tests. Do not try to correlate them together. They are not, it's not possible. They're giving you different information. They use different chemistry. This is one of the confusion that we have had. I personally believe this soil test will change the way we apply nutrients in this country. This is spreading all over the globe. You're asking labs from all over the world are asking them how to replicate the process. But there is a lot of confusion out there. Let me explain it. The Haney test is based on this fundamental principle. Biomimicry. Green chemistry. We finally have a test that mimics nature's chemistry. It only took us 70-some years to get here. Let me explain it. He uses very sophisticated water analyzers. Very costly water analyzers. So when you take a soil sample into his lab, he will re-wet it again. And when he re-wets it, he picks up all these very complex molecules. And these water analyzers are able to read it. And then he picks up the parts per million carbon. And then he uses root exudates as the extractant. Let me explain that. Here's what I'm explaining. Rick uses root acids that leak from the root. Acylic, malic, and there's three predominant ones. Acylic, citric, and malic acids. Now think about it. What does your corn plant see a majority of the time? Water and those acids. All these plants leak these acids. There's a reason they leak these acids. They leak these acids so they can bleach it to get some of the phosphorus out of the soil. And it also feeds microbes. The old Ray test and the malic test and the Morgan test use sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, ammonium fluoride, and sodium ammonium. Is that what the root sees, ladies and gentlemen? So why are we using that? Do you know why the premise initially was? It was to force the minerals to release the calcium, the phosphorus, and to get an answer. We were forcing the answer. If you always work with nature, you do not force the answer. You use her chemistry, her way, if you want the answer to be true. That is the major difference of Rick Haney's test. That's why you cannot compare the two soil tests. With this soil test, I have producers that have already cut their fertility by 50% or more. We'll talk about that in a little while. The reason I'm sharing this with you, because the reason you're doing cover crops, by the way, okay, how many of you are doing cover crops? Please raise your hand. Jerry, why are you doing cover crops? Please tell me why.
Erosion.
Erosion? Give me another one. Mike, why are you doing it?
Biology.
Biology. Give me some more. Why are you guys doing it?
Cattle feed.
What?
Cattle feed.
Excellent. What else? Organic matter. What else? Weed suppression. Are you doing it because you get economic benefit? Absolutely. We gotta live. So, I want to have a test that will give you the encouragement to show you that you're going the right direction. That you're gaining. You know what one old farmer told me that was 70 years old, older farmer? I should be careful because I'm already pushing that. He said, you know what, Ray, you know what I love about soil health? I am gaining. For the last 20 or 30 years, I was getting my butt kicked all over the place. I am gaining now. I am building. I am making money. And I'm having fun. That is cool. Now, here are the parameters of the Haney test measures. Please, I will explain them. I am only going to go briefly because this alone is a one-day class. I am not going to share 5 years of knowledge of this test and help you understand it right away, but I'm going to get you hungry, I hope. The calculation goes from 0 to 50. If your soil is less than 7, if you do the Haney test, you have problems on your vehicle. It is not functioning at its potential. I have some no-till fields that are 58 soil health scores. Do you remember those mold covers I showed you in Tennessee? They started off with a typical no-till field over there that had been no-till for 30 years. We're at 8s and 10s and 11s. They are now, in 3 years, soil health scores of 38. 3 years of intense coverage that high. They have changed that fast. So the test measures respiration. Right now, all of us are giving off CO2. The more food, the more work I get out of you, the more you're going to respire. So the healthier the soil, the more respiration. We have known that since the 1900s. Extractable carbon is the groceries. Water, extractable carbon. Notice I use the word water. Soil is a subaquatic ecosystem. Nothing works. The bacteria and all those organisms swim in water. They do not have legs. So we're measuring the food, the groceries in water. This is the percent MAC, the efficiency of the microbes. This is extractable organic N. This is inorganic N and P. You're going to get the typical university test of nitrogen and ammonia, and the P, and it tells you the ratios of carbon and nitrogen. I am not going to go all over this in detail, but I'm going to show you why this test is so important. These are 3 soils. These are 3 soils. This is his research, Rick Haney. This is College Station, Texas, Lubbock, and Amarillo. Now, I want you to watch very carefully. This is the one-day CO2 respiration. Look at the peak. The higher the fertility, the higher the bump of CO2. Let me explain that. How many have noticed when you go and you get rain that you notice the crops look better? How many have observed that? You observed that, right? Or you thought maybe you were going crazy? There's a reason for it next time. It wasn't just the water or the lightning and a little bit of nitrogen. The major reason is, and the Russians knew this years and years ago, when it rains, it's been very dry, and you get a rain, and it goes in, it wakes up the microbes instantaneously. And the healthier and the more groceries they have, you get a huge CO2 burst. And they release nutrients. We need that in the 1900s. Thank you, sir. 1900s. So the test measures that. That's exciting. Now, please understand, this is soil without life in biology. This is what the Haney test measures. It can measure all those biotic substances, the grocery, that what coats the particles, all those carbonations and all those molecules in that system. It picks that up. Organic nitrogen, organic carbon, it picks that up. Okay. Please understand the difference between organic matter. Everybody gets excited about organic matter, organic matter, organic matter. When you hear farmers talk to each other, what's the first thing they compare each other with? Well, what's your percent organic matter? Right? Come on, we know you do. You know what? Organic matter is cool. But that's not what the party's at. Let me show you. Have you ever seen a bog soil with 12 to 15% organic matter? Guess what? They don't cycle nutrients, do that. I've seen soils in California that have 10% organic matter and they're still buying fertilizer. Here's where the party's at, ladies and gentlemen. The refrigerator. This pool of carbon is 100 to 1,000 times smaller, 100 times smaller than the organic matter. This is the refrigerator. This is the house. Who cares if you live in a 5,000 square feet home if you eat bologna sandwiches every day? Life sucks. You're impressed to neighbor, but you got bologna every day. Well, the same thing here in the soil, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have inherently high organic matter soils. Old carbon, carbon that's been carbon that even tillage can't destroy. That's not impressive. What's impressive is, are you still buying fertilizer and not buying it anymore? That's impressive. But you cannot get them factory workers unless you have plenty of groceries. The test now measures the groceries. Cool. See, all these molecules that break down, even as your resident, all these molecules leak into the profile, everything that the roots leak, the biology. Please understand there's a symphony of all these things going on at one time. Okay? Now, if you go to the lab, 5 minutes, well, we're going to have to wait a little more. I'm almost there. Nitrate, nitrogen. If you go to the lab, that's what you measure. Right? This is what the Haney test measures. It not only measures the nitrate nitrogen, but it measures all the different molecules that have nitrogen in them, called amino acids. We know now that plants can take up amino acids. How many have ever done a soil sample in a forest or your lawn or a pasture? Raise your hand. Were the numbers high or low in nitrogen? You remember? Anybody? They are extremely low. Then you sit and ponder and go, why am I getting so much grass? Why is the forest so green? We've been missing this whole part, ladies and gentlemen. We have a soil test now that measures all of that. See, we've known through the plots, for the moral plots and all these plots for years and years, when you put chemical fertilizer, only 40% of the fertilizer ever reaches the plant. 60% of your fertilizer you put there never reaches the plant. Where does it go? You lose it. It goes to the mafia. Microbes are the mafia. They're first eaters. Plants are not first eaters. They release it back to the plant. Alright? So now we're picking up this other form. We're picking up this other half of this that we've been missing. This is over 6,000 samples. We have over 10 to 12 labs doing this test. We have over 50 or 100,000 samples taken all over the country, in fact, all over the world. We are calibrating this test. Let me give you an example. How many of you guys know David Brandt? Raise your hand. This is a 40-year no-till soybean wheat rotation with a multi-species covers. The soil health score on that soil is 18.5, 40 years. His uncle is 40 years of heavy tillage monoculture soybean. Tillage, soybean, tillage, soybean, tillage, soybean. And on the weekend, tillage. The average national soil health score is 99. That's including pasture. Let's not get too excited. Look at his soil health score. 4. Anything under 7, it's on a respirator. Look at the respiration. 12. Look how much respiration. 146. You saw the ones that were rolled in Tennessee. This year they had respiration rates of 500 in some of those fields. If you trip in that field, you will be decomposed. They are cycling residue. If you have a residue problem, you have a biology problem. Do not throw chemical fertilizer to go fix that. That will not fix it. Biology. Put a cover crop. Get that soil cycling. Okay, I'm going to show you this Mississippi soils, and then we'll move along, because I got 5 minutes. Doug already gave me to pull me off the stage and tell me how to. Okay, Mississippi soil. I'm going to show you how powerful this test is. I want you to focus on 2 columns right now, 3 columns. This is the typical lab test. This is the Haney test. Now remember, the Haney test not only measures this, it measures this. This is poor no-till. This is conventional no-till. What I call poor no-till is corn and soybean rotation. That is poor no-till. Not trying to offend you, please. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. I want to take you to the kingdom of soil health. Okay? Notice here. A Haney test says he's not only got 15 pounds of N plus the 11, but he actually has 27. But if you go to the typical soil test, you only have 11. On the conventional, 16 plus 10, he's got 27. Notice in these sandy soils in Mississippi, in less than 2 years, what happened. By the way, literature says, according to some scientists say, you cannot build organic matter in hot, humid environments. That is bull. Look what happened in less than 2 years. Look at the organic nitrogen pool, 50 plus the nitrate ammonium, nitrogen. He now has 52 pounds of N. Does that make a difference when you're fertilizing 1,000 acres? You better stick and believe it does. Look at the pasture. 75 plus 4, 80. 80 pounds of N. If you went to go measure your pasture, this is what you would get. 4. And you're going, look, that pasture looks great. Look at the forest. This is why the forests are green, ladies and gentlemen. A regular soil test, when you picked it up, 11 plus 70, you got 81 pounds of N. This test now has the ability to pick up those other pools of N. Alright? Look at the soil health scores. There you look at this corn no-till, conventional, 5.2, 5.4. Look at 2 years of coverage. Jump to 12.46. Pasture, 23. Look at the forest, 22. Folks, I expect our no-tills to be in the 20s. I have no-tills in the 30s. I have certain no-till fields are in the 50s. All right? Now, let me wrap it up. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. I'll leave you with 3 stories, real quick, of actual producers. This is Adam Chappell from Arkansas. How many of you have ever been to Arkansas? I love Arkansas. I was responsible. Doug and I were soil health. Doug, raise your hand, please. He's our soil health. Yeah, okay. Doug Peterson is your soil health specialist. I'm a retired soil health specialist, and I was the soil health specialist for Arkansas. I drove through Arkansas with my eyes closed because it hurt. I think it hurts here. It hurts more over there. Let me tell you over there. They get 50 to 60 inches of rain. They're still irrigating. You know why? Their soil will destroy it. This young man went to the University of Arkansas and got his degree in botany, his master's in entomology. This is his dad and his brother. That young man now farms 9,000 acres. He converted the whole farm to no-till and cover crops, 8,000 acres, by watching YouTube. He was stalking David Brandt, Gabe Brown, and myself on YouTube. I said, Adam, why did you do it? This is wrong. He was going broke. Their tillage was costing them $120 an acre just to get it ready for flood irrigation. He saw the Haney writing on the wall. He said, we were bleeding money. I didn't know what to do. A college graduate from the university. But I want to tell you, he kind of reminds me of the centurion in the Bible. He said, Christ, just tell me and I believe and it would be healed. He watched the YouTube and he believed. It was amazing. Some people have to come to the classes. Not him. He got it. Why? Because he already had a biology background, but he didn't put the pieces together. He didn't know what the goal was. Limited nature. Look what happened. That young man got 8,000 acres of cover. You see that polyplant, the way they flood irrigation? On 8,000 acres, just his PVC pipe and his plastic pipe is $100,000 a year. That's not even counting his pumping costs. Our goal is to eliminate irrigation on his place. He used to borrow. He started one of my friends who we converted to DC, very passionate soil health. There's Adam together. 8,000 acres of multi-species cover crops. He's a beacon of hope. He used to borrow $5.4 million. Now he's borrowing 2.7. He said, Ray, I almost got my dad paid for it. My brother is happy. In fact, yesterday we talked to him and said, my brother's pretty happy. We actually have money in the checking account now. But right now, we'd be begging for some type of thing to happen for us. He says, I don't sweat it now. Now they're going to start growing cucumbers, they're going to bring sheep into the operation. There is no limits for that young man. Why? You've got to go now. This is his slideshow, like this slide. This is the most dangerous phrase in the human language. We've always done it this way. Another one. This is Russell Hedrick from North Carolina. This young man won the corn yield contest for North Carolina last year. His yield was 318 bushels. He did it with 140 units of N. He never went to college. He grew up and was a fireman, and his dream was to be a farmer. He started with 40 acres. The land is 12 to 15,000 an acre. The only part he could farm was the worst parts was the roadside ditches or the fields that they borrowed for the highway. That young man now farms 1,000 acres. He runs multi-species animals. He grows his own whiskey. He is growing cover crop seed. That young man will be a millionaire. Why? He watched us on YouTube, and he did not have bad habits coming into the operation. This young man grew that corn with 140 units of N. And he did a tissue sample and said he put 40 units too much. He used the Haney test. They took him, because I told him, I said, Russell, use the Haney test. Well, I'm nervous. He took a quarter of the farm, a quarter again, another quarter. By the way, the irrigated field, the highest yield irrigated in North Carolina was 319. 319. Irrigation really helped him there. Who made more money? He did. He rolled those big covers, laid it down, no-till right into it. Look at his costs. Cost per bushel, $1.75. County average is $1.12. His proven yields is 214. This young man is meticulous. He does his own test plots. 0 rate, half rate, full rate. He buys water sensors. He is an incredible manager. He is organized. To tell you how determined that young man did, one season he got really late in putting his covers. It was November and December. The rains caught it, whatever. That was not enough. So what he did is he hired a bunch of college kids, and you've seen those little spreaders that you buy at the hardware store in the bush. He filled them with cover crop seed, and he paid those college kids to plant cover crops by hand. If you're not being that determined, you will never be like this young man. Last one. They were yesterday here at Lawrence Place. This young family is Dirk and Tannis. What's the last name? Atkins? Thank you. They are incredible. They live in northern Canada, much colder than here. They only get 12 inches of rain. They have 6,000 acres. This last year, they reduced their fertility cost by 85%. They used to borrow $325,000 for fertility. This year, they spent $27,000. How do they do that? They are committed students. If Elaine has a class on soil microbiology, they are doing it. They make their own compost seeds and put it out there. They didn't apply phosphorus or potassium at all. They use compost seeds. They are students. They drove all the way here to come see Lauren, to come to our class again. They are students. They read. They learn. They come to every workshop on soil health. They have changed their life. It was beautiful for Tannis to say, you know, Ray, what is so awesome? I don't have to stress to have to pay that $300 and some $1,000. It changed my life. It changed our life. We go on vacation. And you know what part of the vacation is? Going to a soil meeting. Man, what a life, huh? Man, Doug, man, if we had life like that, it would be awesome. We do have this, yeah, we've got it. Okay, wrapping it up. If anybody gets his books, they're absolutely fascinating. They are always in the New York Times. He is an absolutely brilliant statistician. Funny, hilarious. He says, nature builds things that are anti-fragile. That means they're incredibly beyond resilient. They don't break. They are awesome. In the case of evolution, nature uses disorder to grow stronger. See, how many of you have heard the word chaos? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you say my brain is chaos. That's true. My wife will contest. I'm not talking about chaos of disorder. Chaos means in physics unpredictable. That's the new science now. Nature is unpredictable. You're unpredictable. Your cat and your dogs are unpredictable. Those are biological systems work. He says occasional starvation or going to the gym also makes you stronger because you're subject your body to stressors and gain from nature. Some of you that went through stressors and you had failure with your cover crops, it is making you stronger. It is making you resilient to tolerate what's coming down in the future. Please understand the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Our soils, our natural system can handle all kinds of stressors. But what it cannot handle is continual stress. Over-application of fungicide, over-application of insecticide, over-application of chemical fertilizer, too much tillage. Those are chronic stressors. Same thing as you. If you go to McDonald's every day and you drink beer every night for 30, 50, 60 days, do not expect that you will not get sick. That is a chronic stressor. The natural system's a sign. Last one. What America does best is produce the ability to accept failure. You know what makes America great? Failure. It's okay to fail. It really is. Some of you say, yeah, I mean, that's why I hide my cover crops in the back 40, right? It's okay. At no point in history have we had so many non-risk takers. That is, those with no personal exposure exerted, let me say it again, those with no personal exposure, yet they exert so much control. You know what made our country so great, ladies and gentlemen? Risk takers. A majority of you in here today are the early innovators. We are not at early adoption to ecological farming. We are at the cusp of innovators. You are innovators because you are risk takers. That's what this is about. I pray that you guys do not give up in this journey, because I will never go back. Cannot afford it. Our country cannot afford going back. Okay? This has been my 31-year career. This is my retirement. I went from here to that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming. One more thing, guys. We're going to have our website up. We're going to offer a Soil Health Academy, and give it about another month. You type the word soil health, and Gabe Brown, Dave Brand, and all of us are starting the school so that we can teach ecological principles and teach much more detail in a one-week school. So those will be taught all over the country. I know the people from Canada will definitely come. We advertised it on Facebook. They sold out in 3 days. They're going to be quickly booked. I'm not doing the commercial because it's not about me, it's about you. What today I did is just give you a flavor of what to expect in the store. We have some of the top minds, except mine, that's going to be part of their teaching in that topic. So I want to tell you, type the word Soil Health Academy or Soil Health Consulting. That will be there, and those schools will be available, and we're going to be offering. We might even try to be able to get Steve, we can offer a school here and bring all the instructors here. And so the purpose of that is to be able to get you to a point that you have freedom from man-centric programs, institutions, and costly chemical inputs. That's what the school is based on, not controlled by anybody. Thank you. Please understand, it's not about data. I want you to understand about principles. Principles of soil health. What does anybody know the principles of soil health and why you're doing covers? Anybody in here? Please, name one. Keep the soil covered all the time. Reduce disturbance. Living root 24/7. Incorporate animals into the system. Diversity, diversity, diversity. Those are the principles I want you to remember. If you remember those principles, I can send you to any part of the world and you can get the soil healthy. It's that quick. Now, here's another thing I want you to remember. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This year we had failures with cover crops. And people wanted to give up very quickly. We had armyworms, we had slugs, we had all those issues that we're going to talk about later tonight in the landowner panel. So please, if you're not willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn, don't do cover crops. I'd rather you not do cover crops, because then you will go to the copper shop and blast it. Please don't do that. It's the only single practice I know in our country that will get us to a place of regeneration, that we can bring healing to the land, even more than no-till. So please, if you're not willing to do that. Now, here's the thing. The reason I'm going through over there, because a lot of you have not heard me before. Why are you doing cover crops? There are 4 reasons I want you to internalize. When I walk on your farm, these are the 4 things I look right away. Besides the principles in my mind, these 4 things must be occurring on your farm. 1, are you capturing solar energy on every square inch of your ground? 24/7, as much as possible. Please understand that corn and soybean is an inadequate crop rotation. It will not be sustainable. Now, if you put corn, multi-species cover crops, and then go to soybean, multi-species cover crops, now you're talking. You are capturing solar energy and leaking it and feeding microbes. The next one. And unless you capture enough energy, you cannot feed the glue makers, build aggregate stability for the water cycle not to work on your farm. Notice, all those are connected. The more water I get into the soil, the more nutrient cycling I will get. Then the last one, diversity. See, diversity is very powerful. Diversity moves the nutrients in the mass of material and minerals from one organism to another organism. Nature uses diversity. The most powerful thing you can inculcate in your farm is diversity. Not every plant catches energy the same. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand all these ecosystem processes occur right on the soil surface. Unless you have living roots, you cannot get all those ecosystem processes to work well. So the job is very simple. Cover it. Okay? Now, how many of you went to college for soils? Raise your hand. Okay? You went to school for soils? Good for you. Do you agree with that chart right there? How many of you agree with that chart? Please raise your hand. That biology and physical and chemicals are all equal value. Organic matter is the mother lode and the most important thing on the planet. Raise your hand. Come on, raise your hand. Have confidence or you're not confident. I set you up. I don't agree with that either. Why? Let me show you. Mars. Chemical physical. Earth. Chemical physical. What's the difference between those two planets? Life. They are not equal value. The biology builds the structure and the glues, and they also help regulate the chemistry. They are not equal value. They will never be equal value. Let me show you an example. Let me show you what I learned from this book. The greatest geological force on the planet is life itself, ladies and gentlemen. Life itself. Now look at that. How many of you have actually seen a tree grown into a rock like that? Raise your hand. I'm a Westerner. I see that a lot. You see it, son, right? That is a compaction issue. Farmers. So what do you do for compaction? Come on. Spit it out. You bring out the big John Deere and you go, baby, diesel, let's burn it, let's break it up. Right? So let me ask you, how is that plant able to survive that compaction issue? Whoa. Fungus. That plant is very arbustral mycorrhizae fungus. 80% of our plants thrive with that fungus. They excrete powerful enzymes, break rock down. Bacteria can break rock down. Whoa. So the most powerful thing you can do on your soil is what? Put a living plant. And you don't have to put diesel in it. You think you have it rough? That's a picture of Australia. Australia. You think life sucks in some parts here? Look at that. Roger, how would you like to farm that calcium seedbed? Now I have a question for you, Ron. Why is it dark up here? Life. Look how powerful it is. If you inculcate in your soil life. A rancher, my favorite friend, Dave Brown, he says, I used to get up every morning to see what I have to kill. He gets up every morning and says, what do I bring to life? So I transform my farm and ranch. 90% of nutrient cycling is biological. So the more you bring covers, the more you excite the microbes, the more you feed, the less you have to go to the co-op. The less you have to buy fertilizer. The less you have to use fungicides and insecticides. Because the system is designed to be self-healing, self-regulating. Let me show you. This is a young gentleman who put a scanner and he wants to show how decomposition happens on your farm. On all soils, this occurs. Look at that leaf in 12 to 13 days. Look what is occurring. Look at the elegance. When they die, they live, they do the secretions. Those secretions is what embeds and holds our particles together. It creates nutrient cycling. Now, if we run the disc on that elegance, what does it do to it? It screws it up. How about these worms? Love to watch these earthworms. Look what they do. Earthworms, this is a chip compost pile. Look what they do in a short time. If I have one shovelful, if I have 4 earthworms per shovelful, every time I dig a shovel, that's equivalent to 1.5 million earthworms to 2 million in an acre. If I get them, and what I love about them, they can completely turn your soil for you, aerate it, and what I love about it, they show up to work on time, they don't complain, and they don't need diesel. You don't need anything else. Feed them with roots. That's called bioturbation. Let them do it. Look what you're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. That is a water bear. Something that lives in our subaquatic ecosystems. That's what you run every day with the tractor. And don't realize that these incredible creatures are part of it. The biggest thing you can do for you to be successful in cover crops is change your mind on how you look your soil. Once you realize it's alive, and if it hurts you to do a tillage, then I know you understand. If it hurts you to spray, I know you understand. That's what I want you guys to see. Now, when you do too much, apply too much chemical fertilizer, especially phosphorus. If you overapply more than 200 pounds of phosphorus, you can shut down the mycorrhizae or too much fungicide. Too much tillage hurts those mycorrhizae. Then it affects them, then it affects them, then it affects them, and the whole system collapses. And then you go to the co-op and write a check. The more you understand the biology, the more you start writing the back of the check. I will show you in my PowerPoint how people have reduced their fertility by 85%. Hold on. Okay, if I use the word for one word for soil health, it is this, ladies and gentlemen. You ready? Biomimicry. Mimic life. If somebody sees you and they say, instead of saying you're a farmer, what do you do for a living? I mimic life. That's what you really do. That's what we're supposed to do. Please write this down. There's a lady named Janine Banyas. Watch her on TED Talk. They have an institution now called the Institution of Biomimicry. Why is this so important? Some of the most incredible inventions have been mimicking nature. The whole premise is it's an innovation that seeks sustainable solutions to human challenges by emulating nature. This is where we're heading. This is where agriculture is heading. Let me give you an example of biomimicry. Velcro was designed by an engineer, and he found a cocklebear on his little dog. He goes, well, maybe I'll make a tape and I'll call it Velcro. You know what his name is? Millionaire. We now are mimicking turbine mounts. The air conditioning system is so efficient now we're putting in our buildings. We're saving 90% energy. We're doing robotics by mimicking elephants. Ladies and gentlemen, biomimicry has been around for a huge amount of time. It's in the book of Job. Ask the beast and they will teach you. Do you know why I missed it? 8 years of university study. I am serious. I missed learning how to be an observer. How many of you, honestly, go out and enjoy the process, go to your wooded areas, go dig in your soils on a regular basis? Raise your hand. I didn't know how to do that. Now everybody like Chris and all of us do that all the time, do we, Mike? This is what we're mimicking, guys. The prairie and the forest. We want to mimic that architecture. I don't need prairie, I don't need forest. What we're teaching you is we got to emulate that system, the architecture of it. Diversity, covered 24/7, living root, and both systems have cows. I don't know why we separated the cattle from the cropland. It was the biggest ecological disaster we've ever done for our farmers. The ones that are now doing it are making huge amounts of money. There is money in agriculture. And I'm not saying you've got to do that. Please don't misunderstand me. Now we're going to do this. This is the thing that we're emulating also. We are mimicking that canopy of leaves. How many have actually walked in the forest and seen the leaves, right? You know what we're doing with the cover crops? We're mimicking that. We are rolling our covers, create our armor, and we have the green coming out of the brown. The forest, green growing out of brown. The prairie, if you pull the prairie grass aside, what do you see in the bottom? Armor. Green growing out of brown. When you go to the lawn, once you go to your lawn, ladies, I know you'll do this. Pull your lawn and you go, whoa, raisins, why look at Detroit is their armor. Why is there armor there? Now look at the pattern of how farmers are accomplishing this. But before I do that, I want to share something with you because there has been a lot of people saying, well, Ray, where's your science? We're convinced you smoke way too much cover crops. Where's your science? Oh yeah. I said, really? Look what it says, Dr. Odom, the father of ecology. Although applications and principles and patterns of our nature are everywhere, but they are rarely applied in agriculture. We have known for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know third world countries have been doing cover crops for years? Do you know why? They can't afford tractors. They can't afford chemistry. They've been using that for a long time. Something I want you to walk away with today, for some of you newbies. This has to be internalized to you. The plant and soil are one. They are not separate units. If I take the plant out, if I take the biology out, what do we have? Geology. Ancients used to call the plant the mouth of the soil. So the next time you hay and you remove all the plants, what you've technically done is you actually rip the mouth out. And it responds violently to a point that the water starts to run off on hay fields continuously. Aggregate stability on hay fields are one of the worst. The most water runoff we have is in hay fields. Why? Come on. Wake up. You take all the carbon, you take everything. How do you fix it? Cover crops. Integrate, drill into them. Don't take the last cutting, graze them, put manure on them. We want this living roots. This is what we want, ladies and gentlemen. These are the mixes that we're trying to do. We're doing these mixes for a reason. Notice how it looks like the prairie. Notice, it is planned that way. Look at the architecture at it. We're trying to mimic that architecture of it. Why? We want more beneficials. The more beneficials we bring, there are 1,700 beneficials for every one pest. The more that more of our neighbors do this, the more we can suppress our pest populations. Nature is self-healing, self-regulating. Now I'm going to ask you, bacteria replicates every 20 minutes. We can fill the planet with bacteria very quickly. So why are we overrun with bacteria? How about insects? They replicate every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. Why are we not overrun with insects? The reason I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, many researchers will tell you we have green bridging, we have disease, we have pests. Well, if that's the case, how are we able to grow any crops? Nature's self-healing, self-regulating. Why aren't you, every one of you, dying of cancer? Your cells are breaking down all the time. Why is that healing process occurring? We have to start asking those critical questions, and I point you back to nature. It's self-healing. So how are farmers doing it? This is how they're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. They are investing. They did not get cost share programs for this. They did it because they understand. Look what they're building so they can interseed into standing corn. Look at this one. Farmers are doing this. Look at this. Why are they doing it? For this very reason. So when they get their corn off, they feed that fantastic soil. They say, thank you very much. They hold their nutrients. They stop the leaks. They capture sun. They feed microbes because they understand. Look at this one.